Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Being outside is good for us. It's that simple. And trails make it easy for us to walk, bike, and be active outside in our own backyards. On the trail, we see people moving, connecting with their communities, making the places where they live great. For 40 years, Rails to Trails Conservancy has led the way, creating trails across the country, making it safer and easier for everyone to get outside. They want you to get involved. Find your trail and start your journey today at railstotrails.org/iHeart and follow at Rails to Trails on social.
We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
Craig, let's switch it over quickly here and go straight to the Cowboys. I've been struck during the World Cup at the Texas Stadium, as they're supposed to call it, because they're not allowed to use the sponsors' names. The amount of times that media, the soccer press, refer to the size of the television screen and the size of the stadium, and very impressed clearly with the size of everything in Arlington. And again, we've got sizable hype over the Cowboys heading into this season, when, not least here, we were inclined to kind of look askance at what Jerry Jones was doing and the big gamble in letting Micah Parsons go to the Packers. Not going to say it's worked out. It's been unexpected, though, the direction in which the Cowboys have gone. The defense was an absolute dumpster fire last year, but offensively and in terms of the vibes, Brian Schottenheimer seemed to get a lot of things right as a head coach that a lot of people were skeptical about getting the job in the first place. They feel like if they fix their defense and they, have a new defensive coordinator in the building as well, they could do some damage this year. And, a lot of people seem to be starting to get on that bandwagon.
They say that everything's bigger in Texas, and that was true last year because the holes in their defense were probably the biggest in the NFL. They allowed 30.1 points a game, which was the worst in the league. And they had to do something about it because let's not take away from the fact that they had one of, if not the best offense in football last year as well. It's like literally like a seesaw, their team. They need to do something. Dak Prescott is weirdly holding up his end of the bargain quite a lot here, and he does have the weapons to do it. CeeDee Lamb is really sort of connected with him. The running back room is still a little flaky, but they've re-signed Javonte Williams there to try and look there. I just feel like if they can solidify that defensive position, they will probably overtake the Eagles this year. I do think that they are probably the favourites, and I think if you look statistically, they are just behind the Eagles on the terms of the win percentage there. But
he's going out on a limb, Connor. He's going out on a limb.
But it all depends on how the additions come about for them, because they've traded for Rashawn Gary. They've signed Jalen Thompson to the Cardinals at safety. They need it all to gel, and if it does gel, it will go well for Dallas. But I still can't figure out how it's all gonna go for them next year. I just think for the offense to replicate what they did last year is a big ask, and are they now going to sort of more fall in the middle of the pack as an offense? And that's the big question for me.
Brian, as Craig mentioned, they had big holes to fix in their defense, so they went heavily defensive-minded in the draft, led off by the 11th overall pick of Caleb Downs, the very highly rated Ohio State safety, widely thought of as arguably the best defensive prospect in the draft.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys couldn't believe their luck that he fell. He fell down to where he did at 11. They moved up quickly with the Dolphins to try secure that 11th spot to make sure they didn't have anybody come up and jump over them. He was been argued as a top 5 pick in the draft for such a long period, and then obviously the way it's fallen on the night, he falls to 11. He'll have a point to prove because the Giants, bypassed him twice, and the Commanders bypassed him again. If you look at all the mock drafts which we were privy to at the time, nobody saw him getting beyond 7, 8. So for him to fall to the Cowboys, they probably couldn't believe their luck. But that brings a lot of pressure for him, and he's going to go in there and he's going to have a point to prove. But I do like what they've done. Like we spoke last week long about the Chiefs and the fact, I know it's a different dynamic in Kansas City, but we spoke about them putting trust in young players to come in and essentially refresh this defense and this back. No, like why can't the Cowboys, under a very young, up and coming new defensive coordinator, which they stole from Philadelphia, not do the same? They go linebacker the third round, the fourth round they go cornerback. They've looked at the draft and they've acknowledged last year was an absolute, dog's dirt, shall we say.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Pros, save more on what you need to get the job done right. Right now at Lowe's. Get 15% off select custom entry and interior doors. Plus, save $80 on the DeWalt 20-volt Max 2-tool combo kit. Now just $169. And at the Lowe's Pro Desk, bring us your materials list and get a quote in minutes. Handwritten, a photo, or even a sticky note is all you need. Keep your jobs moving faster and on budget at Lowe's. Valid through 7/8 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
With the defense, it was terrible, and Craig alludes to the fact that their offense, if it wasn't for the defense, they would have been up there and going for the playoffs, because time and time again we saw some stellar performance from Dak Prescott. Even that particular game on Thanksgiving, they go and beat the Chiefs at home in a huge score. I think it was 41-37 or something like that. And that's unfortunately where the Cowboys were last year. Kind of, they needed to be putting up an average of 36, 37 points a game in order to come out the right side of it. And that's great and exciting for fans watching it, but ultimately over the course of the season, it's going to come back to bite you a couple of times, and it did over the course of the season. If they get the defense right, bearing in mind where the Eagles are, and I think we're going to come to that now, I think there's a huge opportunity for the Cowboys to go and jump the Eagles and win the division this year. They gave the Eagles a third time in the first game of the season. I know it's a year on when people didn't give them much of an opportunity, and from that day forward, you realised they've got a great team. It's just a case of putting it all together. And but ultimately, it's going to come down to how well this defense plays, because we know the offense can put the numbers up. Pickens had a great season. CeeDee Lamb in his own right is arguably one of the best wide receivers in the league. Williams proved the point running back. So all the traits are there offensively. It's ultimately what's going to happen on defense.
Kieran, as Brian was saying there, you look at how well Dak was playing, you look at CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens as this explosive 1-2 tandem, and how well that worked out when they took a bit of a flyer on Pickens, given his locker room reputation coming into Dallas in the first place. Everybody forgets about that now because it's all worked out brilliantly. The Cowboys look to be in that classic situation of you get yourself a top 10 offense and you just hope that the defense can be good enough. They were nowhere near that last year, but if they do it, do you think the Cowboys can, as Craig suggested, take this division?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm very high on the Cowboys this year. I can see kind of similarities with the NFC West, where you get the Rams and the Seahawks just going at it, maybe like the Texans and the Jaguars in the South. But I think it's going to be neck and neck with these two in the division. I really like what the Cowboys have done. I think getting Downs it killed me as a Giants fan to see him going there, but it is what it is. But I mean, people forget, I don't know if it's forgotten, but it's kind of overlooked the season Dak had. He had the second best year of his career. Threw for 4,552 yards, 4,552 yards, 30 touchdowns and only 10 interceptions, 67.3 completion percentage. And we saw the games. They were hugely entertaining. He was throwing it. It was a lot of the times it was just almost like video game football. It was like F at CD's down there.
But it's interesting, as you say, Kieran, because the narrative was, this Cowboys the best offense in the league? But it's like everything was mentioned apart from Dak, the most important piece in the whole puzzle.
And you know what? He's kind of, I don't want to say maligned because he's a great player, but when everyone's talking about the great quarterbacks in the league, it's always Mahomes, and it's it's the top five that you can, Herbert and all those guys, Josh Allen. Dak never really gets
like a deck chair in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, exactly. But in the regular season to get him there, I mean, he's been tremendous, whether it's with Zeke Elliott, back in the day. But, people forget CD also missed a bunch of games last year. So it was basically him and Pickens as the offense with a little bit of Jake Ferguson thrown in there too. But I just really like what Dak did last year, leading that offense. I mean, a lot of other teams could have said, this defense is absolute, dog, you know what? Let's just go out there, have some fun, and show people that we're still the Cowboys. We still have a great line. I mean, they still have Tyler Guyton there. They still have Cooper Beebe, Terrence Steele. I mean, it's still a solid O-line. I'm concerned about the running back room. I know Javonte Williams is decent, but who's after him? It's not great there. But I love Caleb Downs, the pick. They got another guy, Malachi Lawrence, a linebacker. Not quite as much as the Commanders. They kind of went out a little bit in free agency. Got a few guys, Rashawn Gary, D. Winters. But then you see Overshown is back. Izaraku. I think that defense is going to look so much better. New coordinator Christian Parker coming in. He's already making all the all the good sounds, all the good noises are coming out of Dallas with him. So it's looking real good for Dallas. But like Craig said, will it be the same offense as last year? It's basically an unchanged offense. The whole O-line is coming back. Everyone's back there. Ferguson, CD, everyone's there. So are they going to run it back again this year with the same amount of offense, the same amount of output? And will the defense help them out? Obviously, the defense will be better than they were last year. So I just like what's been put together in Dallas. Again, they're always great copy. There'll be drama. There'll be late victories and there'll be late losses. And that's what Jerry loves. So they'll be great. They'll be great viewing this year. And I really like them to stay the pace with the Eagles this year.
Brian, the Eagles have been up year, down year for the past couple of years. They win the Super Bowl. Bit of a down year for them last year, even though they make the playoffs. It did not obviously end well.
Being outside is good for us. It's that simple. And trails make it easy for us to walk, bike, and be active outside in our own backyards. On the trail, we see people moving, connecting with their communities, making the places where they live great. For 40 years, Rails to Trails Conservancy has led the way, creating trails across the country, making it safer and easier for everyone to get outside. They want you to get involved. Find your trail and start your journey today at railstotrails.org/iHeart and follow at Rails to Trails on social.